Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video with myself and Sloth today. Kurt Zuma. We did a video this week as well on Aged and whether we would keep or sell him. Same with Zuma is applying here. We're going to go through his recent statistics and look at what Zuma is currently bringing. And to be honest, the decline last season, even compared to the season before, is pretty high when we're kind of looking at the data as well. So yeah, Kurt Zuma's obviously been here for a few years now. I think he's had definitely his up and down moments. Obviously, the injuries and the off-field stuff has definitely played a part with kind of hindering that progress in terms of what he's done at West Ham. But he has been our best centre back for a long time now. He was fantastic when he first came. He's put in some really good performances across the last few years, but he's now 29. Sloth. The knees are they don't look good. They don't look good at all. And, it's definitely impacting his performance now. We're starting to see that decline in physicality. And, he just hasn't been the best this season at all. He's been, very lazy, not switched on at the back, way too easy to get past him, not dominant aerially. So, yeah, Kurt Zuma, initial thoughts on, the rumours that he could be linked with the moves to Saudi, etc. This summer away from West Ham.
I think you summed it up perfectly there. The decline has been massive this season, and it's such a shame. He the first season he came in, he was an absolute powerhouse, and I think he was probably the best centre back outside the top four.
Yeah.
He was fantastic, and I think that kind of it made criticism of him quite hard, because I think a lot of people wanted him to really step up and keep playing at that level. And I think, unfortunately, his mind and his body are just a bit, they seem at odds at the moment. As you mentioned, he seems to switch off a lot, and things that weren't in his game as predominantly seem to just be making more appearances. He loses his man quite a lot, or he just switches off, and that's not the same player that we were seeing, 2-3 seasons ago. So yeah. I think obviously all the off-pitch stuff hasn't helped. I've made my opinion on the first incident in particular known. I'd have sold him then and there, but the case of him and his family, someone breaking in, I think that's something that you just have to hold your hands up and say,
yeah.
But from there on, it's about what he feels is best for his family. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's already got a doubt in his mind and thinking about moving away. But in terms of the timing of it all, that's my biggest worry.
Yeah,
it's such a massive transition that we have to do this season in the defense, and with someone's experience, Zuma's competitive experience, his knowledge of so many competitions, and the clear presence he has in that dressing room.
Yeah,
I think that's where it will hit us the hardest.
He's also captain now. He's also been the captain for the last year. But yeah, I think last season was the most Premier League appearances he's made in one season for West Ham. So I think he's been playing through the injury. I think it's very clear that he is definitely not right with his knees. And yeah, you're looking at the statistics for this year. It's very clear for what type of player he is. But that tackle percentage, it's definitely lower now in comparison to other defenders in the top 5 leagues. It's just, we know what we're getting with Zuma now. You can see from here, it's very much clearances, clear top 5. That's based on how we play and also how he is as a player right now. And then you kind of look at some of the other statistics here, which is, I want to pay your attention to the very bottom here. The percentage of aerials won is only at 58%. And, that's, 40th percentile. So that's below average when you're comparing him to other centre backs in the top 5 leagues, which when you think of Zuma, his aerial dominance was his best attribute defensively for me. You know, I think we've heard players in the past talk about him when he was at Chelsea. I think Troy Deeney, you know, your opinions on him might be different, but, you know, he came out and said, toughest centre back I've ever played by far was Kurt Zouma, just how dominant he was aerially and how high he could jump. You can't do that anymore with his knees. It's a real shame. He just doesn't have the athleticism to do it anymore, and it's definitely impacting his game. And you know, when we're trying to play out, he's not the best on, you know, on the ball. He's not the best at progressing play with passes. You know, you can see from here again, it is down to how we kind of play as a team. But when you're looking at these, you know, passing statistics here, it's really, really poor. You know, with Zuma, you're going to have someone again, like you say, has that experience, will do well, will defend well in and around the box, for kind of clearances and no nonsense defending, as I call it. But you know, when you're comparing him from this season to last season, you can kind of see again that aerial percentage and dual percentage of the pink, which was the 22-23 season, has significantly decreased this year, from that blue in the middle, and is really, really poor. You know, that aerial percentage, he was in the 90th percentile the season before last. It's now only the 36th percentile. So it's a massive part of his game that's gone downhill this season. And yeah, like I think that's the only thing now, isn't it? We just don't have enough centre backs really to be saying, okay, we can move on Zuma and bring one in, because Ogbona's gone, which leaves us with Aged, Mavropanos, and Zuma. And it's likely Aged's going to be moving on. So then you're left with Mavropanos and Zuma. Unless you're going to promote within, or you're going to, you know, sign 2 or 3 centre backs, it's going to be tough for us because Kera's gone as well. So yeah, what would you do with this one, Slough? Because I'm kind of on the fence. He's about to turn 30 in October. It's clear that the injuries have massively impacted him, in terms of his performances. I don't know if it's not someone we should be relying on as a starter now, but he's been made club captain. He's clearly a big part of the squad inside. So what do we do with this? Do we keep Zuma for this season while we're rebuilding, or do we look to cash in now?
I mean, I think first of all, the decision to make him club captain, it was just baffling to me. You know, it's not a case of he doesn't deserve it. It's a case of, I don't think I've ever watched a game where he's played and thought, wow, he's really showing the leadership qualities. He's the one making the defensive shouts, or, you know, he's really pushing us forward. So I think that's a big criticism of mine in that department. It's just one that really baffles me. And even say, you know, I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's had a fantastic season at times, but James Ward-Prowse, someone coming into the club,
yeah,
who knows the Premier League like the back of his hand. Not that Zuma doesn't, but will mix into that dressing room and perhaps look to push us forward. I think it was just a strange decision to give it to Zuma, particularly with some of the off-field antics. But regardless of that, it's such a tough one, because, as we said, the transition needed this summer is massive, and we are very fortunate that there's quite a few potential free agents on the market. You know, we've missed out on, the looks of it, Lloyd Kelly and Tosin Adebayo, which is very frustrating. But you now look at the alternatives. I mean, we've got Koleosho at Luton, and I think he would be a very smart pickup on a free. That then means that you've got a little bit of Premier League experience, but also youth. And you've then got the rest of the budget to go elsewhere. You know, Koleosho as well is going to be someone who is on very small wages in comparison to Zuma. So you've saved a lot of money in that. And I think it would then give you money to potentially go out and buy a bigger name, you know, someone a bit more, should we say, confidence inspiring to a lot of the fans.
I agree. I think as well, his, you know, obviously his contract expires in 2025. So we've only got a year left after this summer. So again, it's likely that would get renewed unless I don't know if there's an option to extend that or trigger it by a further year or two. But this is probably the summer where we're going to get the max value from Zuma now, in terms of what we can get from this point moving forwards. I agree with you. I think if we are going to replace Zuma and move him on this summer, it has to be for someone that can just come straight into that team, and there isn't that risk involved with it. And I think, again, we've spoke about it before, but getting the balance right between these exciting signings in the likes of Brazil, but then also the smart, solid signings that are going to come in and, give you a 7 out of 10 performance to start with. And not really reduce the impact on the squad of, say, losing Kurt Zuma. We need to not feel the impact of that, and it needs to be an improvement on what we've currently got. So, yeah, I think for me, I would sell him if we replace him smartly like that, with someone that's got that experience in the Premier League, and can just come in and do a job that's not going to be ridiculously expensive, because yeah, we've got a lot to work on this summer. But yeah, I think Kurt Zuma's been fantastic for us. It by and large for his time at West Ham, and when he first came in, it was a fantastic sign. Like you say, that first season he was incredible. He was definitely one of the best outside the top 4/top 6. So he was a big part of what we did on the pitch in Europe, and also progressing into the top 6, top 7 in the Premier League as well. So yeah, let us know what you think about Kurt Zouma in the comments down below, because it's definitely a difficult decision to make this summer, and it'll be interesting to see what Steiden and Lopetegui wants to do with Zouma moving forwards, as he is also the club captain. So yeah, let us know in the comments. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, and subscribe to the channel as always. And yeah, Sloth, until the next one.
Come on, you
Come on, you
irons.
irons.